Oh my gosh. I have been waiting for this for 15 years. If anybody knows what it's like to feel like you missed out on something 15 years ago, and then you hear the person across the counter say the word, and you just, what? Did I hear you correctly? This is better than Fed interest rates. This is better than QE. This changes everything, especially for people that are looking to purchase multi generational, especially for people that are trying to sell a property in the gray area. That word, oh, what's that word? It is amnesty. The amnesty program. It changed everything in 2008, 2009, and 10 when they had the approval to grant amnesty to garage conversions, to unpermitted ADUs. Basically, people, because the recession was so tight and the liquidity was gone, it was the opposite of what we're having now. They said, well, we need to get these properties that people are living in brought up to a certain level of livable standard. We will offer this amnesty program so you could do it at a reduced fees, maybe 4 times as less for the fees. Now, still not free, but oh my gosh, the people who took advantage of that for pennies, their property values, they had no idea that the rents were going to go up. They had no idea that the values of their homes were going to go up. Now you've got so many people, West End, Midtown, probably all over California, but anywhere where you have square or cube lots that people have been doing garage conversions, unpermitted ADUs. And that's the kicker. Part of the qualification is that you have to have actually had an unpermitted dwelling on the property prior to 2020. Prior to 2020, I know what some of you guys are thinking, and I thought it too. Can I convert my laundry room? Can I convert somewhere that has electric and water and call it a dwelling? They're, they have to draw the line somewhere, and you can understand why. People take advantage of this program, but it's so good for people. I have a client who, the only income earner in her dwelling, she was leasing out a dwelling. People weren't paying rent. She wanted to do an eviction. They turned her in. That's how I found out about this thing. People aren't talking about it. People aren't talking about Assembly Bill 25 33. Look it up. Assembly Bill 25 33. So, for the state of California, homeowners that had been using a portion of their home, ADU, unpermitted ADU, or garage conversion prior to the year 2020 can get permitted. They can apply under this new assembly bill, and upon the inspection and approval of a certain amount of square footage, it only has to be upgraded to the code, per se, of the time of when it was built. So they don't have to bring it all the way up to modern code. They have to make it safe, so they want to go in and make sure it's safe, make sure it's clean, it's sanitary, and meets a minimum livable standard to provide housing, because they don't want people to go ahead and build. There's a lot of people building unpermitted ADUs. It takes a long time to go through the process. They want to streamline the process. They want it to happen. They want housing to get done, because we really are behind on housing. And I know there's a lot of people that are anti-building or anti-profit and anti all of these things, but you guys got to understand, like, the houses aren't going to build themselves. And this is a solution that they've come up with, and it really helps people like the person I was talking about, who is a sole income earner that kind of relies on that income to pay her mortgage. And there's people that need that rent. They need the rental. They need the rental unit. And there's a lot of, other single people. They don't want, a big 3 or 4 bedroom, house to rent. They want to be able to rent something at a reduced rate, that meets the standard of living. And this is just really big news, because there's a lot of homes that have this gray area, and then now they can rectify. Because most people who are consumers are out there shopping around. The word unpermitted means illegal, means I'm going to go to jail if I use this as a rental. And that's not what that really means. Unpermitted means it didn't go through the permit process. Something can legally be there or be structurally legal, but not permitted as a dwelling. So that's what makes it gray. It's like, oh, it just sounds like a lot of jargon. Well, this jargon is going somewhere. It will be permitted. It will be legal. It will go through process and be recognized and be on the tax roll. This is so huge. And last time it happened, people complained because it was in a real recession where people didn't have the money. Like, well, I don't want to have to pay those fees and da 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 da. But those were pennies compared to the benefits on the back end. 5 years later, having that legal dwelling could have made someone $100,000 for $5,000 in fees. And I don't know if it's going to be around that much. It'll be 10, if it'll be 15 or 20. I mean, currently you have to have architectural plans, and you have to go through a big process, and permitting. Then going through the process can be a lot of time, energy, and money. But this is going to streamline it, and they've already approved and done a few, and no one's talking about it. I work in one of the best offices. Our agent count, what our agents produce per agent, it's like 25 to 400. Like the amount that we produce per agent. We compete with other brokerages. With the 25 agents at our brokerage, will compete with agencies that have 400 agents under their hanging their licenses. Like, we do really well, and everyone's so busy. I brought it to the attention, but this is what we do. We have a great culture. We share information. I brought up, no one had been talking, no one had heard of it, no one had been talking at it. It's not really in the current, but you're going to hear people talking about it. I guarantee it, and it affects everybody. Even if you say, oh, I've got a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, we don't have a dwelling. Yes, it's going to affect you, because it's going to affect your neighborhood. If there's one in your neighborhood or several in your neighborhood, it's going to increase the value, because that could be rental income. It could be desirable, dwellings for people to do multi-generational. And it's, the rising tide lifts all boats. And here's the caveat to that. And here's a really big important thing. If you're anywhere near downtown or near a downtown city center in California, this is really happening. If you take single family and you convert the garage and you have an ADU, now all of a sudden you have a triplex, and then you've converted residential, single family zone neighborhoods into multi-family. And then at that point, those can then be converted. It's the states growing the cities. And even with really cool towns like Ventura or Ojai, where they try to have their own municipalities, they try to have their own charters, it can only go so far. When the state has a bill or they have a mandate and they're going to allow for ADUs, or they're going to allow lot splits to happen, or they're going to allow not grandfathering in, but this little permanent amnesty program, it changes everything, because now people have a chance. So what's going to happen is people will be able to do this. They'll be able to take advantage of it. It will. And in the interim, it's going to help buyers, because they're going to be able to say, hey, you know what? I can actually, that garage was converted at one time. So I know of a property right now, because I sold it last time. It had a dwelling. It got called out by the city. Same thing. Tenant got upset with the landlord, turned him in. And then all of a sudden, they're like, they make the landlord, so now the person doesn't have a place to live, and there's not a dwelling there anymore. And they say, okay, this is unpermitted. You have to, shut off the gas, shut off the water, tie it off, pull out the kitchen, pull out the bathroom. Now it's an empty garage again. Well, at one time, before 2020, it was used as a dwelling. So with some light finishes, the plumbing's still going out there. The gas is still going out there. They can tie into it. They can create a new dwelling, and that can help increase the value from 8 to 900,000 without that much spend. But the desirability of having that second unit as an income is huge for buyers. They need the income. We're seeing this over and over and over again, and people need the rentals. So it is a short-term solution. And granted, don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. But the caveat, the bad thing I see about happening is they're going to increase density. And then at some point in time, whether it's 10 or 20 years from now, they're going to be able to say, okay, since this is high density, you can do multiple units, you can build up. That's likely what we're going to see. So the bad news is, just like what I said with Main Street Moves, is that once you shut down a city like that, you kind of demand the 15-minute city. You demand the high rises to have that walkability. Now all of a sudden you have to have more people living down there. It just goes hand in hand with it. It goes there faster. That was my point, is that it doesn't make it necessary, but if they want to do 5 to 10 stories high in downtown Ventura, now having Main Street Moves, having it shut down for vehicles, because you've taken that small town away, you're making it a city center, and that's how it can grow out. So those are the trends that we're going to see. So any properties in Midtown, downtown, West End that have unpermitted units, this is your opportunity to get it permitted, do it, participate. Some people won't want to participate; they'll see it as a negative, but you can't stop the wave. You can go down to the beach, do every day, and you can't stop those waves from coming. So this is what we're in. This is what we're having. Thanks so much for paying attention. And if you ever have any questions, you can DM me, email me, shoot me a text. Um, there's a guy, Eric. You know who you are. He's out there. He reached out. He was expecting like a 2-minute phone call. I think we talked for like 20 minutes. Like, I can't believe you gave 20 minutes of my time. It's like, I'm an open book. I tell everybody what I know. I just build on the information a little bit day by day, year by year. And it's nice to have a situation like this where I can reflect back to what it was like in 08, 09, and 10. And then when this program went away and so many people needed it and wanted it, when the value came to the market, they wanted it, but you've got to make the moves before the value comes. So right now there's this amnesty program. It's exciting because I know it's going to help sell several properties that have been kind of steering on the market, and it's going to help buyers buy. There's a lot of buyers out there that want to buy, and they get really scared of these gray area properties. And I see a lot of people benefit from these gray area properties, but a lot of times those first-time home buyers, they get scared of it. And I got to tell you, it's like with this news, the permit process could be started, it could be finished, it could be executed. It's a possibility, and it's really going to help. And I've got sellers that I've reached out to. I'm reaching out to everybody I know that this could affect at all, which is pretty much anyone and everyone, but particularly the people that I know have had the dwellings on their property, and saying, hey, look, it's time to get that thing permitted. Like, let's get that permitted. Let's realize your gain. Let's realize the investment, and to have something that's really sellable and attainable for the next person. You guys, thanks so much. For watching. If you'd like to click the subscribe, tune into the next one. We'll be doing more about this Assembly Bill 2533.